Davey, tell the jokes. Go on.
No, I'm not telling no more
seriously.
jokes. No more.
Go on, Davey. I haven't asked
One more.
One more.
One last joke. Right.
One last one, go on.
Right, time for one.
This is it now, and no more after this, right?
Fair enough.
This is it. Pat and Mary, they were married for years, and Mary never had an orgasm. So she says, well, what are you going to do about it? So he said, well, we go to the doctor and we see what he says, like, you know. So they went to the doctor, the two of them, and he says to the doctor, and I said, well, Mary, we're married for 4 years and we have sex 2 or 3 times a week, and Mary never had an orgasm. So the doctor said, but what probably happened is Mary's probably overheating. So what I suggest you do is you get a fan and you put it at the end of the bed, and you have the fan on full blast when you're having sex to keep her cool. He says, and the orgasm will happen. So right, we'll try that. So Pat was a miserable fucker, you know, and he wouldn't buy a fan. So what he done was he went to his friend next door, Mick. And he says, Mickey says, Mary's overheating when we're having sex. And the doctor said, she needs to be fanned down. He says, right, can't you fan a towel? He says, when we're having sex, to keep her cool so she can have an orgasm. So Mick says, yeah, no problem. So next thing, Pat gets up top of Mary, and Mick is fanning the towel. And Pat is going like mad, and 20 minutes, Mary's looking up at the ceiling, nothing happening, no orgasm. So Mary says, I have an idea now, she says. Why don't we swap around? Why don't you let Mick have a go and you fan the towel? So Pat said, right, we'll try it anyway. So Mick gets up on top of Mary and Pat is fanning like fuck. And Mary is screaming, the bed is fucking drowned. Mary had multiple orgasms. Mary says, stop Pat, I have enough, you know. So Mick then gets off Mary. And Pat goes over to Mick. He says, no, Mick, he says, that's how you fucking fan the towel.